Thanks, Senator Udall. I appreciate a lot of things about you. I think maybe most importantly is just our friendship. It's in this business, you know, Harry Truman used to say, if you go to Washington, D.C. and you want a friend, then buy a dog. I haven't had to do that as the governor. You haven't had to do it, Mark, and part of that is that you really have been a genuinely good friend to me. I had the opportunity when he was running for office to go out and do an event where Robert Redford was kind of the headliner for the event. So I was the third to last person to speak before the Senator Redford. And I said, you know, my wife's very envious of me tonight. She said, you get to go out and you get to introduce one of the best looking men in America. And I said, no, I'm introducing Robert Redford. Somebody else gets to introduce the senator. Udall's have been great they have a family legacy on this. And so I'll just end my thanks to you, Mark, by saying, you know, the things that you're doing in Washington, D.C., it's a tough slog, obviously. Things are slower than we'd like to see them. Out here in Colorado, watching sort of the slow progress, but understanding that you're there and you're fighting that fight, and you come by it so honestly, given your dad and your uncle, your cousin Tom serving alongside you in the United States Senate. It's our belief that you're going to be a centerpiece of the progress that we see in this arena, in the arena of clean tech and clean energy. I really do appreciate the award, and I would say to all the Colorado Clean Tech folk, thank you so much. You've been great partners for us, and so it's really gratifying. There's so many different friends in this room that friendships that have formed, business relationships that have formed over the last 4 years, that it's nice, sort of at the end of my term, to be able to look around the room and see such passionate advocates who represent a variety of disciplines. You know, I would be remiss in not acknowledging the people on my own team, because as anybody knows who's been in my position or something similar to it, a lot of this happened by the good fortune of having surrounded myself with really brilliant people. And some of those are just the very close-in folks. Don Elliman is here tonight, and Don Elliman helped develop a strategy, really led the strategy for our Office of Economic Development and International Trade, and realized the promise of this. We campaigned on it, but it's one thing to campaign on it, it's another thing to turn it into a strategy over 4 years and say this is not just about energy or the energy portfolio, it's also about economic development. So thank you to Don Elliman. Alice Madden was the majority leader in the House when I first became governor. We served together in those contexts in the first 2 years, and when she was term limited out of the House, I asked her to join my administration and run the climate end of it, the climate policy end of it. She's now involved as well in monitoring the implementation of House Bill 1365, and so thank you, Alice, for your efforts, your passion, and your commitment. Tom Plant, who's not here, ran the governor's energy office, and his vision has been very much about how we build out this sector. Evan Dreyer, my communications director, is a press guy, I would say, has been extremely helpful in helping me define how we really talk to the rest of the world about this important topic. And I consider this one of the most important things that we can do as a country, and certainly that we've done as a state. We recently had the ability to travel to Denmark and Finland. I was with, among other people, Tom Clark from the Metro Denver Economic Development Corporation, and together we were making the case about Colorado and clean tech, and we had Colorado companies with us that are absolutely doing leading-edge things in the world in a variety of ways. In the energy world, when we got to Finland, it was mostly about transmission, it was mostly about the grid, and there are some of the most amazing things happening here in Colorado by virtue of the kinds of research and development and the commercialization of that technology. So I just think about sort of all of the places I've been around the world, and I have said around the world, number one, we have the best research and development corridor for renewable energy, energy efficiency, and really cutting-edge technology of any place in the world. And I say, not laughingly, that I know I'm right about that because no one has disagreed with me. I've been in China, Japan, Canada, Denmark, Finland, Norway, Germany, Spain, all these places, and I say this. And in Israel, when I was in Israel, it was the head of the Israeli research, renewable energy research lab, who looked at me and said, NREL is the best in the world. And that really comes, from a person who absolutely knows. That clap was started by their communication. There, you guys are awake and on duty. That was good. But what's important about this is that it's not just NREL, although that's the core of it, right? It's the collaboratory, the formation of that collaboratory with our research universities, and now the private research work that's being done here, and then will grow over time. ConocoPhillips making its commitment. It's really a significant thing for us as a state. And so we really did develop this new energy economy, believing that it was a way for us to diversify our energy portfolio, to do what we could to answer some very serious environmental and climate issues, and finally, at the end of the day, to make it about economic development as well. And we continue to do that. We've seen some successes, but if you hear about venture capital money flowing into those states, we know that we have to compete in a different and a better way for that. And what we also know is we have the assets to do that. We absolutely have the assets in this state, and not because of just our work and government and signing 57 bills, but because of the work of this community in Colorado. The Cleantech community in Colorado is as well positioned, I would argue, as any state in the country to really make this the hub of clean tech going forward for the United States of America. We've laid a template down about how we as a state have performed and really built public policy that has research and development, job creation, and actually renewable energy production, energy efficiency that's happening in a very significant way, a path forward with transmission efficiency, public utility commissioners that absolutely understand the vision that we've articulated. The rest of the country can learn from us, we know that, but Colorado will still benefit in a significant way if we keep our focus on this arena, if we continue to tell ourselves we have the assets, and what we need to do is continue to do job creation. We know venture capital money is going to be significant to that. Ira, our guest speaker today, is a person I met in the Silicon Valley, and I will be happy to have him sort of comment on this because I think you have a perspective about how that can happen, and I appreciate the fact that you're here. So I'm going to just end by saying it has been, for us, a very, I think, gratifying thing to have had 4 years to work on public policy in this arena. It felt to me when I was running as a candidate that there were all these places in Colorado, they were waiting to be sort of helped along, sort of ushered in a different way. And I feel like we've been able to do that. So as I said, that wasn't my effort alone. That was a lot of people who helped me over time, people who advised me during the campaign, people who have been with me throughout. The legislators who are here today have been such fantastic team players. When we put our renewable energy standard at 30%, there were 5 people in this state in 2006 who would have given you a dime on that bet. They just would never have said you can get to 30%, and we got there through the efforts of a lot of people, but we wouldn't have gotten there without the efforts as well of the legislators who are here today. So I just want to acknowledge again the senators and the House members. Thank you all for their award. God bless you all.